Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Never go in the test of ignorance, my spiritual master opened my eyes with torchlight of knowledge. I have no respect for the senses, not even for my respect for the senses of all. All right. Mukam karoti vachalam manayati mukhapatam manayashidharanam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are going to continue Canto 2, the Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization. We completed till verse number 9, right? So someone remembers something from the section we read till now?
One thing, Mataji, was that we should keep remembering Krishna until the last breath we have.
Ante Narayan Smriti. And what was the main point there? Srila Prabhupada mentioned. How will that happen?
So we can study Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of bona fide.
Yeah, that was
bona fide devotee. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, that was. But the point where because that Ante Narayan Smriti was like in verse number 6, where like, okay, whatever process somebody follows, but ultimately one has to remember Krishna. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was saying that finishing touch is given by a devotee, right? That finishing touch can be given by a devotee. If you remember, if somebody remembers that, okay, what else is there? Association of
devotees.
Yeah.
Association of a pure devotees.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what are any other reflections?
And we also have to remember, we have to also study the Vedic scriptures by the bona fide spiritual master.
Yeah. And we heard about the superiority of Lord's pastime over Brahman. And Vyasadeva is mentioning that he was attracted to the Bhagavatam and then he heard it from Vyasadeva, right?
Yes.
Also, the importance of glorification of the Lord was explained.
Yeah, that's what is the superiority of Lord's glories, Lord's form and Lord's glory over Brahman, right?
Right.
All right. So should we continue from verse number 10? So this section is until 11 when Maharaj Sukadeva Goswami is answering Maharaj Parikshit's questions. So let's continue from verse.
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, sure.
Text 10. Tadham te abhidyasyami mahaporo siko bhavan tas yasya sraddha tatamashu syan mukunde mati spati. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That very Srimad Bhagavatam I shall recite before you because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Krishna, one who gave full attention and respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, achieving unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam is recognized Vedic wisdom, and the system of receiving Vedic knowledge is called Avarodha Pantha.
Avaroha
Pantha, or the process of receiving transcendental knowledge through bona fide disciplic succession. For the advancement of material knowledge, there is a need for personal ability and
Researching, yeah.
Researching attitude. But in the case of spiritual knowledge, all progress depends more or less on the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master must be satisfied with the disciple. Only then is knowledge automatically manifest.
Who asked you to?
Before the
Hare Krishna, Kokila Mata, can you mute yourself, please?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Only then is knowledge automatically manifest before the student of a spiritual science. The process should not, however, be misunderstood to be something like magical fit, whereby the spiritual master act like a magician and inject spiritual knowledge into his disciple, as if surcharging him with an electric current. The bona fide spiritual master reasonably explain everything to the disciple on the authorities of Vedic wisdom. The disciple can receive such teaching not exactly intellectually, but by submissive inquiries and a service attitude. The idea is that both the spiritual master and the disciple must be bona fide. In this case, the spiritual master, Sukadev Goswami, is ready to recite exactly what he has learned from his great father, Srila Vyasadeva. And the disciple Maharaj Parikshit is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna is he who believes sincerely that by the becoming a devotee of Lord, one can become fully equipped with the everything spiritual. This teaching is imparted by the Lord himself in the page of the Bhagavad Gita, in which it is clearly described that the Lord Sri Krishna is everything, and that to surrender unto him only makes one to most perfectly pious man. This unflinching faith in Lord Krishna prepares one to become a student of Srimad Bhagavatam. And one who hears Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee like Sukadev Goswami is sure to attain salvation at the end, as Maharaj Parikshit did. The professional reciter of Srimad Bhagavatam and the pseudo devotee whose faith is based on 1 week hearing are different from Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Srila Vyasadeva explained Srimad Bhagavatam unto Sukadev Goswami from the very beginning of the
Janmadi
Asya verse. And so Sukadev Goswami also explained it to the king. Lord Krishna is described as the Mahapurusha in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11. In his devotional features as Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself in his devotional attitude, descendant on earth to bestow a special favor upon the fallen soul of his age of Kali. There are 2 verses particularly suitable to offer as prayer to his Mahaprabhu features of Lord Krishna.
Okay, wait now because it is too long, so let us go over this first and then somebody else can continue the rest of the purport. So you want to say something, Kalpana Mata?
Yes, Mataji. So Sukadev Goswami is glorifying the Parikshit Maharaj devotion, and that's why he is ready to recite because Parikshit Maharaj was a very pious, sincere devotee. So that's why Sukadev Goswami was ready to recite the Srimad Bhagavatam before him. And Srila Prabhupada is glorifying the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he is showing the way how one can get progress in spiritual knowledge and get mercy of Guru. And what is it? Yes, Mataji.
So now Sukadev Goswami has been asked some questions by Parikshit Maharaj, right? And he is answering the questions. And what were the questions? Someone remembers? What were the questions Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukadev Goswami?
What is the duty of one who's about to face death?
Man in general, and one about to
Right. The
die, right?
purpose.
Yeah,
duty
and
of-
one, yeah. And one more. What should one hear, chant,
Hear, chant, remember, and worship.
and worship,
Worship,
right?
and what he should do and not.
What should one do and what should one not hear about, right? Those were the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. And Sukadeva Goswami answered those, and then he is speaking about that he is going to speak something what he has heard in disciplic succession from Vyasadeva, his father. So similar kind of context also came before in the Bhagavatam. Anybody remembers what was it? So here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that he is going to speak Srimad Bhagavatam, what he has heard from Vyasadeva. In previous verses, we heard that Sukadeva Goswami is saying that he heard from Vyasadeva. So, and he is going to speak that. And what is that Bhagavatam going to do? Is that it is going to, so this is, we should always remember, what should this Bhagavatam be? If we hear it with full attention and respect, then it should create that unflinching faith in our hearts for Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, it should be doing it. If it is not doing, that means that we need to improve our attention and respect to Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, who remembers that similar kind of context came earlier in Bhagavatam? Someone remembers?
Well, the rishis were asking Sutta Goswami that, this is similar questions like Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah. The questions were similar, but what I am asking is that here Sukadeva Goswami is saying that I am going to speak what I have heard from disciplic succession. So this similar thing.
Sutta Goswami saying that what I'm going to do.
Yeah, in the second chapter, when he was asked the questions by the sages of Nimisharanya, he says that I am meditating on my spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami, right? Who heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. Yes? In the beginning of second chapter. So now again, see, so and whenever we hear our like the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, when they are asked certain questions, what do they say generally? Oh, Srila Prabhupada said this about this, and they don't make up their own things, right?
Yes, all based on Acharya.
On descending knowledge means presenting transparently what we have heard in disciplic succession. So now in the purport, there are very important points that one thing is we need to receive this transcendental knowledge in disciplic succession. Where in Bhagavad Gita did we hear that? Recently heard that in Bhagavad Gita.
4.1.
Yeah, Prabhu, let others speak maybe. Yeah.
Evam parampara prapta.
Yes, yeah. So there in discipline, this is the way to receive transcendental knowledge is in disciplic succession. Yeah. So but Prabhupada is saying in material context, there is that research work goes on, right? That researching aptitude. But in case of spiritual life, we accept what the scripture says and what Guru Sadhu Shastra say, and especially scriptures, the sadhu is actually the living, the person who lives those scriptures, right? So basically the authentic scriptures and Guru actually we should hear from. And what is, and another point that it is mentioned, the knowledge will be revealed if we are able to satisfy and please our spiritual masters, so that every morning we sing the Guru Ashtakam. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasado yasya prasada gati kutopi. Without the pleasure of and satisfaction of the spiritual master, we cannot actually move in our spiritual life. And then there is another verse Srila Prabhupada is quoting here. Where did we hear this one? The bona fide spiritual master reasonably explains everything to the disciple on the authority of this one. The disciple can receive such teachings not exactly intellectually, but by submissive inquiries and service attitude. Where did we hear that verse in Bhagavad Gita recently?
Tadvidi pranipatena.
Yeah, tadvidi pranipatena. So that our attitude should be very submissive and the mood of service is there. Then we inquire and the spiritual master. And there is one verse in Bhagavatam 11th Canto. Yasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyete kathita hiyartha prakashante mahatmana. When we have unflinching faith in the spiritual master and the Lord, then all the knowledge of the revealed scripture is revealed to us in our heart, because knowledge is already there, it's just covered because of the material contamination, right? So basically the in disciplic succession and from a bona fide spiritual master. And also then again, Srila Prabhupada mentions that unflinching faith in Lord Krishna prepare one to become a student of Srimad Bhagavatam, and one who hears Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee like Sukadeva Goswami is sure. So it is going in circles basically. This unflinching faith in Lord Krishna prepares one to become a student of Srimad Bhagavatam, and one who hears Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee like Sukadeva Goswami is sure to attain salvation at the end, as Maharaj Parikshit did. Yes, that and oops, sorry. And in this verse, what it is saying here, it says here the opposite thing. Yeah, because by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one develops unflinching faith in Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. So it's going back and forth, back and forth. And yeah, that another verse about faith that Srila Prabhupada quotes in 241 Bhagavad Gita, that what is that? Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kohe Sudrid Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarv Karma Krit Hoya. So that is the faith basically. If we engage in devotional service, then everything else will be taken care of. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now maybe we can continue the purport. Somebody wants to read the rest of it?
Can I read?
Yes, Mataji. Go ahead.
ध्यायन् सदा परिभवग्रहम् अभीष्टदोहम् तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरञ्चिनुतं शरण्यं प्रत्यार्तिहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दं तत्त्वा सुदुस्तजा सुरेप्सिता राज्यलक्ष्मीं धर्मिष्ठ आर्यवचसा यद् अगाधरण्यं मायामृगं दयितयत्कृतं अन्वदावत् वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दं. Bhagavatam 11.5:33-34. In other words, Purusa means the enjoyer and Mahapurusa means the supreme enjoyer or the supreme personality of Lord Sri Krishna. One who deserves to approach the supreme Lord Sri Krishna is called the Mahapaurushika. Anyone who hears Srimad Bhagavatam attentively from its bona fide reciter is sure to become a sincere devotee of the Lord, who is able to avoid liberation. This was none so attentive as Maharaj Parikshit in the matter of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and there was none so qualified as Sukadeva Goswami to recite the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, anyone who follows in the footsteps of either the idle reciter or the idle hearer, Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit respectively, will undoubtedly attain salvation like them. Maharaj Parikshit attained salvation by hearing only, and Sukadeva Goswami attained salvation only by reciting. Recitation and hearing are two processes out of 9 devotional activities, and by strenuously following the principles either in all or by parts, one can attain the absolute plane. So the complete text of Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning with the Janmadhyasya, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, verse up to the last one in the 12th canto, was so spoken by Sukadeva Goswami for the attainment of salvation by Maharaj Parikshit. In the Padma Purana, it is mentioned that Gautama Muni advised Maharaj Amrish to hear regularly Srimad Bhagavatam as it was recited by Sukadeva Goswami, and herein it is confirmed that the Maharaj Pariksit heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the very beginning to the end as it was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. One who is actually interested in the Bhagavatam therefore must not play with it by reading or hearing a portion from here and a portion from there. One must follow in the footsteps of great kings like Maharaj Amrish or Maharaj Pariksit and hear it from a bona fide representative of Sukadeva Goswami. Hari Bol.
Ibo. Yeah, you want to say something, Mataji?
Yeah, here so in this verse, first Prabhupada explains also about the verses means the Krishna is the Mahapurusha, is the supreme personality of Godhead. And also the Maharaj Pariksit is a perfect disciple who heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And Sukadeva Goswami is a like perfect reciter. By reciting, he got the salvation, and Maharaj Pariksit is a perfect devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. So by hearing only, he got the salvation. So here Srila Prabhupada said we get the example of Maharaj Pariksit, and also even the Maharaj Amrish heard the Srimad Bhagavatam and he got the salvation. So by that way, we don't have to hear from here and there, but we have to go to bona fide representative and we have to hear Srimad Bhagavatam attentively.
Very good. Yeah. So Srimad Bhagavatam, as we all know, is a refuge in age of Kali, as we heard in the first canto, third chapter. The answer, where will the religious principles reside? So this is Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the association of devotee, and I'm grateful to all of you. I am just burning to tell one thing that I heard from Srila Prabhupada today. So Srila Prabhupada, it's very, very like the analogies that Srila Prabhupada gives are very, at the same time, funny and very like instructive, as well as very, it makes the context and the subject understandable. So Srila Prabhupada was saying that we say material and spiritual because we are not using, because everything actually is coming from Krishna. So there is nothing material, but it becomes material because we are not using it in Krishna service. So, but then if we use, this body is material and the soul is spiritual, and this body becomes fully spiritualized if everything, every moment it is used in Krishna service. And then he gives, just like an iron rod is just an iron rod. It has nothing. But if we keep it in fire for a long time, it becomes fire, even though it looks like iron. So that was the striking point. Even though it's still, if I tell somebody that, oh, this is fire, nobody will believe, oh, this is iron rod. But then Srila Prabhupada says, okay, touch it. Then it is fire. So basically, if we use it in Krishna service, I mean, it is out of context, but I was just remembering that, and just I thought I will share. So yeah, context also can be that if we keep hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, our ears, our and everything will be spiritualized completely. It will not remain material, right? And Parikshit Maharaj is going to ask that question later, I think in 10th canto, that, okay, my ears are material, my tongue is material, how can it deliver me and liberate me? There will be a question like that Parikshit Maharaj is going to ask. Okay, so should we move on to the next verse?
Yeah, I can read, Mataji.
Yeah, sure.
Mataji had a question.
Yeah.
In the last purport, Prabhupada is saying that we should not read from here and there. So like he's trying to go from a sequence.
Yeah.
But for many times I have to like prepare for kids classes or something. I'm not like I'm going to
that is fine. I mean, that is fine. Meaning for, it is means the reason Srila Prabhupada is writing this is because generally people go directly to the Rasa Panchadhyaya, right?
Okay.
For the purpose of their own enjoying tendency. It's not in that, I mean, and Srila Prabhupada gave us 10th canto,
The
10th
Krishna book.
the form of Krishna book before all the Bhagavatam was available. So it's, but Srila Prabhupada gave it in, yeah, gave it in such a way that we won't be deluded or we won't misuse it, or, you know, so in that context, Srila Prabhupada writes that.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Okay, so let's move on to verse 11.
Okay. Itan nirvidyamanam ichatam akuto bhayam yoginam nripa nirnitam harer nam anu kirtanam.
So this is also a very important verse. So let's read it very carefully. So actually, this is also a very big purport. So we will pause in between. Go ahead.
Yeah. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Purport. In the previous verse, the great necessity for attaining attachment to Mukunda has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and thus are aloof from such an illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord Sri Krishna. In other words, the devotees of the Lord do not want anything on their personal account. If the Lord desires, the devotees can accept all sort of material facilities. And if the Lord does not desire this, the devotee can leave aside all sort of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. Nor are they self-satisfied because they want the satisfaction of the Lord only. In this verse, Sri Shukadev Goswami recommends the transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord. By offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Lord, one becomes acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord, and then with the attributes of the Lord, and then with the transcendental nature of his pastimes, etc. Here it is mentioned that one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord after hearing it from authorities. This means that hearing from the authorities is the first essential. Hearing of the holy name gradually promotes one to stage of hearing about his form, his attributes, his pastimes, and so on. And thus the necessity of chanting of his glories develops successively. This process is recommended not only for the successful execution of devotional service, but also even for those who are materially attached. According to Sri Sukadev Goswami, this way of attaining success is an established fact, concluded not only by him, but also by all other previous acharyas. Therefore, there is no need of further evidence. The process is recommended not only for the progressive students in different departments of ideological success, but also for those who are already successful in their achievement as fruity workers, as philosophers, or as devotees of the Lord.
Yeah, so let us pause here and then someone else can read the next part of the purport. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, Mataji, very deep, very important. He mentioned how different types of people have the like different desires, materialistic and the self-realized and the devotees. So how devotees don't want material enjoyment, neither they want like salvation. They just want to serve Krishna and whatever is for his pleasure. And the importance of chanting and the learning from the bona fide disciplic succession, how it is bona fide, and we don't need to like it's already established fact. It's like a formula is already there. We just have to follow it. Yeah.
Yeah, so fearless way of success is this Hare Namanu Kirtanam, nothing else. So yeah, very straightforward. So the verse says, no matter what kind of practice one does, in the footsteps of previous acharyas, one should always chant the holy name of the Lord, and that is the fearless way, right? Doubtless and fearless way of success for all. So, yeah.
Mataji, why like fear? Like, does people fear and then chant? Like, why would they?
No. Fearless means if one wants to be fearless, because in the material life we are always having some fear or the other because of identification with the body. Yeah. So fearless way of success means this is guaranteed that if we do this, then there is nothing to fear about actually. That I will not attain.
Like,
so because
if we have anxiety or fear, it goes away. If we chant.
No, that way also, and also like in other processes like yoga system, Ashtanga yoga, and also this one Jnana yoga, there is no guarantee of success because one is dependent completely on their own strength, right?
Yeah, yes.
So this Bhakti yoga, which is Hare Namanu Kirtanam, holy name, so there is no fear, there will be success. This is
okay. Thank you.
Way to attain the success. Yeah, for all, no matter what somebody is doing, whether somebody is attached materialist, whether somebody is a jnani or yogi whatsoever, but if one following in the footsteps of previous acharya chants the holy name of the Lord, then they can attain that success by offenseless. So, but in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, by offenseless chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, one becomes acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord. So the sequence is first name, form, then qualities and pastimes of the Lord. So first of all, we have to hear and chant the name of the Lord, and the authorities, following the authorities, it is that first we hear and then we chant, right? So that, so in the next part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes the 10 offenses. So let's read. Someone would like to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Let's read, yeah.
Okay. Srila Jiva Goswami instructs that chanting of the holy name of the Lord should be doubtly done, and it should be performed offensively as well, as recommended in the Padma Purana. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself onto the Lord. One can deliver himself from all offenses at the feet of the Lord by taking shelter of the holy name. But one cannot protect himself if he commits an offense at the feet of the holy name of the Lord. Such offenses are mentioned in the Padma Purana as being 10 in number. The first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. Second offense is to see the holy name of the Lord in terms of worldly distinctions. The Lord is the proprietor of all the universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that does not in any way qualify the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as the others, because they are all meant for the Lord. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there is no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular name of the Lord as it is locally understood. They are all auspicious. And one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. The third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. The fourth offense is to vilify scriptures of the vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. The fifth offense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of one's mundane calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be none different from him. The sixth offense is to interpret the holy names. The Lord is not imaginary, nor is the holy name. There are persons with poor fund of knowledge who think the Lord to be an imagination of the worshipper, and therefore think the holy name is to be there, and therefore think the holy name to be imaginary. Such a chanter of the name of the Lord cannot achieve the desired success in the matter of chanting the holy name. The seventh offense is to commit sins intentionally on the strength of the holy name. In the scriptures, it is said that one can be liberated from the effects of all sinful actions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effects of the sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is the greatest offender at the feet of the holy name. Such an offender cannot purify himself by any recommended method of purification. In other words, one may be a sinful man before chanting the holy name of the Lord, but after taking shelter in the holy name of the Lord and becoming immune, one should strictly restrain himself from committing sinful acts, with the hope that his method of chanting the holy name will give him protection. The eighth offense is to consider the holy name of the Lord and his chanting method to be equal to some material or auspicious activity. There are various kinds of good works for material benefits, but the holy name and his chanting are not mere auspicious holy services. Undoubtedly, the holy name is holy service, but it should never be utilized. It should never be utilized for such purposes. Since the holy name and the Lord are of the one and the same identity, one should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind. One should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind. The idea is that the Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. He is no one's servant or ordered supplier. Similarly, since the holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord, one should not try to utilize the holy name for one's personal service. The ninth offense is to instruct those who are not interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord about the transcendental nature of the holy name. If such instruction is imparted in an unwilling audience, the act is considered to be an offense at the feet of the holy name. The 10th offense is to become uninterested in the holy name, even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. The effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false egoism. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for enjoyment of oneself only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine. But the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from all misconception. Haribol.
Yes, Prabhu. You want to say something long?
Right. So basically, the 10 offenses of the holy names are mentioned here, starting with, we should not blaspheme the devotees of the Lord, who have been then considering the holy name to be some materialistic, considering of material, some ritualistic activity, and then not to instruct the faithless. So this basically just 10 offenses are given, and one where the big offense is to use the holy names to perform skillful activities.
Yeah.
You should not.
Yeah, like, okay, I can keep committing some sins and then I will check it will be wiped off, which is an offense.
Right. And also, we shouldn't use the holy name for nothing but attaining Krishna, because sometimes we can get carried away and use the holy name for our own material, quote unquote, interests.
So this is very interesting here that Srila Prabhupada, the last paragraph, the effect of chanting the holy name of Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false ego. Cheto darpan marjanam pavamahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kerva chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam. Right? That's purifying. Right. And what is it purifying us from? The false ego that I am this body. But how does it do it? To that we are the servants of the Lord and the holy name actually. So I happened to hear some discussion of Shripada Indra Prabhu yesterday actually. And he was saying, Sarva Dharman Pritajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. No, it's Nam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, means take shelter of the holy name. And then he connects it. Why means in Kali Yuga, why that Mam means Nam is because in Kali Yuga, the Lord descends as the holy name, right? Kali Kale Name Rupe.
Right.
So that name actually, and I was also thinking, there are statements like whatever we do, it is a service to the holy name. So then that made it clear in my mind that how it is that we should serve the holy name, because in Kali Yuga, actually it's the holy name. Krishna descended as the holy name. So we need to give this holy name. I mean, share with this Maha Mantra with others. That is how everything that we do should end up in this sharing the holy name with others, which is actually a service to the holy name, right? Which is non-different than Krishna. Yeah. Well, false egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for enjoyment of oneself only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine. But the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. Yeah. That the definition of bhakti, pure devotional service by Narad Pancharatra is Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate, right? Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam. So we have to get free from this upadi. I am man, I am woman, I am female, I am mother, I am father, I am wife, I am good, I am bad, I am fair, I am dark, I am bad, I am good. Like those conceptions we have to be free from, and this holy name help us in being free from all those kind of conceptions. Yeah, and also actually all these offenses actually are not taking place when we are chanting, but at throughout the day when we are not chanting. See, first is blaspheming the devotees. Second is to consider the names of Shiva and Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Supreme Lord. 3, to disobey the orders of spiritual master. 4, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of Vedic version. 5, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as imagination, right? 6, to give some interpretation on the holy name. 7, to commit sinful activities. So all these things, they are not happening at the time of chanting, but they are happening other hours of the day. So meaning how we should remember these. And also Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that the root cause of all these offenses is inattention. So that first thing that we need to try to do is pay attention to hearing the holy name. As I think yesterday I was saying that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that if the hearing sense is conquered, then all other senses gets conquered, the mind gets conquered. So that hearing has to be captured first. So which is, and then the hearing is the most subtle sense, right? So we may not be able to see something, but we can hear something first. That is why we put on the alarm to get up in the morning. Yeah. All right. So let's move on. So far, what Sukadeva Goswami is saying, that one thing is that we should always chant the holy name, right? Harer Namanu Kirtanam. That should be offenseless. And then before that, in the verse number 10, he said that he is reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, and if we hear with attention and respect, then we will develop unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right, so now the section, there is new section from 12 to 14, quality of life matters are described. Huh? Yeah.
Kim pramattasya bahubihi parokshir hayanair iha varam muhurtam vidiktam gathate shreyase yataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a state in searching after his supreme interest. Purport. Srila Sukadeva Goswami instruct Maharaj Parishik about the importance of chanting of the holy name of the Lord by every progressive gentleman. In order to encourage the king, who had only 7 remaining days of life, Srila Sukadeva Goswami asserted that there is no use in living hundreds of years without any knowledge of the problems of life. Better to live for a moment with a full consciousness of the supreme interest to be fulfilled. The supreme interest of life is eternal. With full knowledge and bliss, those who are bewildered by the external features of the material world and are engaged in the animal propensities of eat, drink, and be merry type of life are simply wasting their lives by the unseen passing away of valuable years. We should know in perfect consciousness that human life is bestowed upon the conditioned soul to achieve spiritual success. And the easiest possible procedure to attain this end is to chant the holy name of the Lord. In the previous verse, we have discussed this point to a certain extent, and we may further be enlightened on the different types of offenses committed unto the feet of the holy name. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu has quoted many passages from the authentic scriptures and has ably supported the statements in the matter of offenses at the feet of the holy name. From Vishnu Yamala Tantra, Srila Jiva Goswami has proven that one can be liberated from the effect of all sins simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Quoting from the Markandeya Purana, Sri Goswami says that one should neither blaspheme the devotee of the Lord nor indulge in hearing others who are engaged in befitting a devotee of the Lord. A devotee should try to restrict the vilifier by cutting out his tongue, and being unable to do so, one should commit suicide rather than hear the blaspheming of the Lord of the devotees of the Lord. The conclusion is that one should neither hear nor allow vilification of the devotee of the Lord. As far as distinguishing the Lord's holy name from the names of the demigods, the revealed scriptures disclose that all the extraordinary powerful beings are but parts and parcel of the supreme energetic Lord Krishna. Except for Lord Krishna, Lord himself, everyone is subordinate and no one is independent of the Lord. Since no one is more powerful than or equal to the energy of the Supreme Lord, no one name can be as powerful as that of the Lord. By chanting the Lord's holy name, one can derive all the stipulated energies synchronized from all sources. Therefore, one should not equalize the supreme holy name of the Lord with any other name. Brahma, Shiva, or any other powerful god can never be equal to Supreme Lord Vishnu. The powerful holy name of the Lord can certainly deliver from sinful effects, but one who desires to utilize this transcendental potency of the holy name of the Lord in one's sinister activities is the most degraded person in the world. Such persons are never excused by the Lord or by any agent of the Lord. One should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means without any offense. Such activity of life, even for a moment, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the life of the tree and other living entities which may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement.
Very good.
Cool.
You want to say something? Okay,
Yeah, but very, very powerful.
yeah.
Yeah, very powerful. I think I have to read again because it is completely Prabhupada is restricting blessing the devotees of the Lord. Like he's saying, it is instead of doing that, you can commit even suicide because that is
Suicide, yeah. Yeah.
such sinful
So
activity.
it's a real, actually all difficulties that we go through in our spiritual life is because of this one thing of blaspheming or not respecting the devotees properly.
Yeah, Mataji, this is a very, very important purport. Very clear.
So, meaning we shouldn't become like, so fearful about it, but what we should cultivate is cultivate the attention, pay attention to chanting. Means when we are chanting, pay attention to the holy name here again and again. Mind wanders, bring it back. So then all these tendencies that we may have, the lower tendencies, they will just be wiped off by the power of holy name. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What did you capture from the verse, from the purport and verse?
So whoever is using the holy name for his own sinister activities or getting the power of the holy name and doing materialistic things, he is the most degraded one, and the Lord will never because sometimes the power of the holy name, people will start to do sin again without knowing actually.
Yeah. So this verse, the context of speaking this verse is in the previous verse. Srila Sukadev Goswami, he spoke that Hare Namanukirtanam, right? You should keep on chanting, and then that is Bhakti Yoga. So Parikshit Maharaj just has 7 days. So he is like a little bewildered and afraid that I just have 7 days. How am I going to do this? Then Sukadev Goswami is speaking about that there is no use of prolonged life without Krishna consciousness. In comparison to that, just one moment of full Krishna consciousness is better than prolonged life without Krishna consciousness. That is the context that Sukadev Goswami spoke that verse, because Parikshit Maharaj is afraid that he just doesn't have the time to do all that what Sukadev Goswami is saying. Yes.
Yeah, Mataji. And he also says that how many years of only moment of full consciousness is and your whole life without.
Yeah. So the trees and all, they live so long, thousands of years in the last part of the purport Srila Prabhupada is saying, but their life is useless because but one moment of full Krishna consciousness without offense, if we chant one pure holy name, that is more than enough to deliver us back to Krishna. Actually, one holy name, if is chanted purely, it is not an exaggeration of the name, but it is truth, actually, right? So if we carefully chant with attention and with affection, actually, I think it is who who is saying that with affection. Yeah, Sachinandan Maharaj writes in Broken Name book. I forgot the reference. He refers it from some other scripture, but I'm forgetting that. He says that offenseless chanting can take us to Vaikuntha, but if the chanting is done with affection, only then we can go to Goloka Vrindavan. So that's what I remember it sharing on the group some time back.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so something like that. It was that offenseless. It's not just that we have to cultivate offenseless chanting, but chanting with love and affection is the real thing, actually. Not because if we do it affectionately, then automatically all these offenses will turn away. And how does it start? We have to start paying attention to the holy name. Okay, dear devotees, it's 8:30. If somebody has something to share, please share. All right, very, very nice, important verses, very important lessons for all of us. And we can try to read these again on our own time and try to get some jewels from these verses. Yeah, so basically a few points that Srimad Bhagavatam, if we hear it attentively and with respect, then unflinching faith in Supreme Lord will develop. And no matter what we may be materialist or jnani or whatsoever, but we have to Hare Namanu Kirtanam. That is the solution. And also that one moment of full consciousness of Krishna is better than millions and billions of years of lifetime without Krishna consciousness. So let us try to, we don't know how short life we may have, the remaining life. So let us all pray to Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Parampara to help us in utilizing every moment appropriately in Krishna consciousness. So thank you,
I
dear.
have a question, Mataji. So,
Yeah.
Mataji, the Jivatmas, when they attain liberation, when the body passes away, if they are pure devotee and they're going to Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikunta, Mataji, so at that time, what they are called? They're still
Huh?
Jivatmas.
So still, yeah, they are still Jivatma only.
They will be still Jivatma, but
Means, yeah, so that in 15th chapter, there are, Krishna says, right, there are liberated Nitya Siddhas, Sadhana Siddhas, like different categories are there, right? So we will still be Jiva only. Yeah.
okay, that's why I want to check if if they change their thing. Okay,
No, we will always
they won't take
means
birth.
no, we don't take birth. Then one doesn't take birth. So it is like they get free from the cycle of birth and death, and they will be situated in the constitutional position of serving das 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 and das, that one, right? That is the real constitutional position of jiva.
Yeah, okay, Mataji, got it.
Evam Sajiva, that verse in Bhagavad Gita, right? The Jiva is constitutionally always my part and parcel, eternal, right? Mamevam Sajiva, Jiva. I'm forgetting, it is in the 15th chapter verse.
Mame Vamsa Jiva Loke
Jivaloke Jivbhuta Sanatana Manasashtani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. In 15th chapter, Krishna says that, right? Mamem eva amsha jiva means we are always the amsha, and this is jiva, eternal.
Got it, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Rashtam ki jai, Ananta Koti ki jai, Vansha Kalparuvyascha Kripa Sindhubhayavcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Hari
Mataji.
Bol. Hari Bol.